Hello internet. Today we have Cartethyia and Lupa. Who should you pull? And oh boy, this is a pretty tough one. I mean, every single update they put us in like a really tough spot because all the characters look too good. Cartethyia, too sick. The alt animation, the coolest of the entire game. All right. Then we got Lupa. Lupa, lively and adorable. Right. A lot of people are hyped for her because she should be the secret to like completing the whole fusion team archetype in Wuthering Waves. Now we do have Brunt into Chun-Li, but that's not perfect yet, right? Because Chun-Li has the buff that isn't really being utilized by Brunt that well. So yeah, we're hoping Lupa is the secret to finishing the fusion team. A lot of you are looking forward to this one. But who do you choose in between them, right? Let's just take a look. So with the first light, we get Cartethyia. Now we've seen the animation, we've seen her in the live stream, adorable character. We adore the story as well. What is her role? Let's take a look. Now in the live stream, they've mentioned her as the main damage dealer, and she can apply arrow erosion through various skill. Now we don't know exactly how she's gonna apply everything yet, and that should be announced in their Twitter and such in the coming days, but we can already deduce that she is an arrow erosion character, meaning to say we already know her best team is definitely with the people that has something to do with arrow erosion, right? But to take a look at what she's all about, she applies arrow erosion with various skills, and once she switches into Fleurdelys, I apologize if I mispronounce her name. Once she switches into this form through her ultimate ability, she'll be able to enhance her damage and arrow erosion effects as well. So what's confirmed is that even with her whole dual form thing going on, she still is an arrow erosion character where she applies arrow erosion through like thick and thin. Should revolve around arrow erosion. That should mean she's the perfect piece for the arrow erosion team, which is Cartethyia, Chakota, and Arrow Rover. Now, up to this point, we don't exactly know her numbers and such, so in the end, whether or not she's definitely worth it, we'll have to wait till the numbers are released. If she does a lot of damage, of course she would be worth it, right? But if not so much. But I'll say Kuro has not missed or dropped the ball at all with characters. They've been balanced quite well. All the strong characters are about as strong as each other, right? There's not significantly weaker characters, I would say. So yeah, in the end, I do believe the arrow erosion archetype is just gonna be like one of the top teams as well. It's gonna like perform very similarly, if not better than a lot of the top meta teams we have. But the problem here comes in with needing Chakota. Now, Arrow Rover everyone has. Chakota, I think a lot of people went for Zanny, right? A lot of people pulled for Zanny. But then who in the world has enough for Zanny and Chakota, right? If you're lucky, congratulations. I got pretty lucky. I think I spent a bit on Zanny, but didn't have to spend it all on Chakota. But for you guys, if you don't have Chakota, is there any other characters you can use with Cartethyia? I'll tell you right now, absolutely. There's going to be like, alternative choices, and you don't have to force yourself to go Chakota. However, those choices are, of course, not as good as having a premium arrow erosion team. In my mind, the easiest way is like just do a Shorekeeper, Arrow Rover, Cartethyia. That team should still function fine with arrow erosion being done via just Arrow Rover and Cartethyia herself. Shorekeepers still give you decent buff, but even if you don't have Chakota, that team should still work fine. It's just that though, the simple problem, right? Like you want the perfect team. If you want to main a person, you want their perfect team. So if you don't have Chakota, she has her batter up right now. So it's really hard for me to say, for you to say as well. I don't think anyone can really give you an answer. It's like, how good is Cartethyia with Chakota? We don't know until she's released. So we don't really know if you want to commit fully into Chakota. Thankfully, I already got her, so I don't even worry about it. But if you have not gotten Chakota, you really want to main Cartethyia, I think you have to just pull the trigger on Chakota, right? But otherwise, if you're just like a Cartethyia user, you don't really mind having her best team or not. Even if you know she's like an arrow erosion main DPS, right? Then it's okay. You don't have to pull for Chakota. And yeah, just go for Cartethyia plus Shorekeeper plus Arrow Rover. That team should work absolutely fine. It would just be a shame though, because you're missing out on her perfect synergy that's available right here. I think it's a killer to put like back-to-back characters, right? Chakota, and then the next damage dealer that uses Chakota. Oh, dude, that's a killer right there. But well, if you skip for Zanny though, hey, good for you, right? If you're just saving for Cartethyia, this is your time. We know she's an arrow erosion character. Time to pull the trigger for Chakota, get the perfect team. But yep, in the end, I would just wait until the official kit maybe. It's a shame because I would love for you guys to wait until a showcase of Cartethyia, and then we can say, oh, whether or not we want Chakota. But that's not in the books. Either decide for what a hard mainer and get Chakota or not, right? That would be what I would do. But in any case, that would be for Cartethyia. In my personal opinion, I think she's like the actual real anniversary character. She's just too cool for me to ignore. So I'm going to pull for Cartethyia as well. I already have Chakota, thankfully. So I'm going to go for her for sure. Now that's it. let's move on. The other character that's in contention with your resources is Lupa, right? Lupa is actually surprising one of the more hyped characters because a lot of people are hyped for Changli with the fusion team with Brunt as well. They pulled all of it, but then the fusion archetype is just not perfect yet. It's just not, because usually when a team reaches completion, it's a full team buffer into a sub DPS that buffs the main DPS, and the main DPS is usually just a character with all the damage output. She doesn't buff anyone, he doesn't buff anyone. It's just him, herself, standing on field for like 15 seconds, doing all the damage and utilizing all the buffs gained, right? But it's not exactly what Changli's all about. Changli actually can buff the next character, which makes it quite hard to use her. But is Lupa the person that could play this main DPS role, right? A lot of people want her to be that. However, unfortunately, and weirdly as well, I'll say, after like doing my own research on Fleurdelys as well, a lot of people are questioning Lupa's role as well. It's a little bit weird because from the live stream, we know that Lupa is a fusion support slash damage dealer, right? So she's not exactly a main damage dealer because in the live stream itself, she is shown to have so much supportive utility. They introduce her kit by saying, you know, by attacking you gain forte, max forte, get enhanced charge attack, much like any main DPS, right? But then once you use this enhanced charge attack, you gain Wolf Wave. And after you get enough of this, she becomes like a supporter of her allies, where if her allies does their Resonance Liberation, Lupa actually stands on field and will follow up that Resonance Liberation from her allies. So it's really much like a supportive skill, which is kind of bizarre because Lupa just hardcore gave like, I'm a main DPS, I'm going to murder everyone vibes, but not quite. She's more of a team player, right? Is that bad? Not really. Is that not exactly what we expected? It's kind of not for me, at least. For me, I expect that, oh, they released Brand for the fusion team to support the main DPS. Lupa is a fusion character. She looks like she's dangerous. Look at that smile, right? She must be the main DPS, right? Unfortunately, not exactly so. I don't think she is not a DPS at all. I think she's definitely going to be able to do damage, considering her skill and output being introduced as if she's going to have to stand on field for a while. She should be solid for her damage as well. Not as good as like just a hard main DPS though, right? Now that is not all. Lupa's ultimate in the live stream is set to grant recovery dodge for allies. Now I gave it the name recovery dodge. It's not really that, but it's basically an anti-knockback or anti-stun thing. You just have to click your shift. It's really similar to how Shorekeeper works, where after the field is on and you evade after being hit, you actually recover and you can continue to attack, right? That is all very supportive, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Lupa is called a healer with that setup, right? But no, she is actually a damage dealer. From the array of things that's being explained in a live stream, we know she can do damage. We know she can also support the whole team. Now the question is, how exactly are her like intro skill? Are they main DPS focused where she just wants to stand on the field a lot? Or are they just gonna buff the next character too, which there's not really the third DPS of a fusion character that can really utilize it perfectly so far, right? It just doesn't exist yet. They can, but it's just not ideal. Like if you buff Changli with Lupa, Changli can buff someone else, so it's not exactly perfect there, right? But then if you give all the buffs to Lupa, Lupa can buff someone else, making it not exactly perfect. So it's quite bizarre. Now with all of that information in mind, we know that she can be a mix of support and damage, right? Now the few teams that comes to mind should be the fusion, you know, gauntlet of characters. You got Lupa, Brant, Shorekeeper. This is just replacing the best fusion team. Usually it's like Brant into Changli plus Shorekeeper. Now we take off Changli, put in Lupa, but then it's the same issue though, right? Lupa is able to give your ally support, but then Lupa standing on field means that she's not able to help your team, because she needs to swap out for the team to utilize her supportive capabilities, right? Not exactly needed when you have already a Shorekeeper. Not exactly needed when your second character is a Brant, which comes in and gets out fairly quickly, right? Team number 2 I can think of would be Lupa, Changli, Shorekeeper. Now this one means that instead of Brant buffing into Changli, you get Lupa buffing into Changli. However, we still don't know what exactly her buffs are. And secondly, I doubt they would just release 2 at the same slot, right? Is it just fusion damage increase again, just like Brant for Lupa, and then, you know, you buff Changli like that? That wouldn't make much sense, so I doubt it. Plus, Lupa seems to have an AoE buffing capability, so I think it's going to be more similar to that. So in the end, does this mean Wuwa has in mind the third team? Lupa, Brant, Changli. I've already mentioned this exact team, exact idea when Brant was first released, right? I thought we were seemingly using the fusion element rather. Then Brant, Changli, which all buffs the next character. So does that mean the third character be the hyper good main DPS? Or maybe a person that could buff the whole team but still do damage, and then they can, you know, all 3 of them exchange buffs with each other, right? That could be the case, and I think that might be a solid test for Lupa, maybe this is the team that Lupa might shine well in. However, I still doubt it because even if you want to make that work, the skill needed for you to do that should be higher. Because, you know, anything to do with Changli, really, you want to play her well, is quite challenging, especially with like triple DPS with less of sustain. Brant can sustain a little bit, but not as well as Shorekeeper could for sure. Not to mention, I feel like a team like this, you definitely, especially with Lupa having to swap out and such and then following up, I think this might be one of the hardest teams to play, but it might have some decent payoff, right? Or it might not be, it might just be solid, but then if you're really skillful with it, it gets decent. So this is actually pretty fun for people that are looking for a challenge. I think this will be a very flashy team. Then again, I think it's not quite efficient for people that just want to like get their dailies to like get their freaking tower adversity done. However, though, we'll have to wait for testing to see what these are all about. In the end, Lupa or Cartethyia? It is quite hard to make the decision, but I myself think the easiest way for you to understand would be, okay, if I have Chacona, screw it, I'll go Cartethyia because that's instantly the team. Cartethyia into Chacona with Arrow Rover, boom, you're done. That's the endgame team. You don't gotta touch it until they have something to replace Rover, which I doubt they will. They might though, who knows. Or if you already have the Brant character and you have no Changli, or maybe you have both of them, and you really love that fusion synergy, I would suggest honestly waiting first until we know more about Lupa, and then understanding if that team works at all or not. Because if not, then you're looking at a Shorekeeper Brant Lupa or Shorekeeper Changli Lupa. And say if you already have Brant or Changli, you might have to sack off one of them to put in Lupa, and that might be like a tragedy, right? However, there's one more way to think about it, with Lupa being a character for the future archetype. Maybe in the future they're going to release more fusion characters that can work with her as well, but then it's an endless cycle, right? Thinking about the future, you will never reach the end of it. We thought about the future with every character, with even Changli, and even still right now, there's not really a perfect way to use Changli. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen in the future, so I think it's best to just work in the here and the right now. Yeah, you get Chacona, go ahead and get Cartethyia. And if you have Changli Brant, both of them already, there's not really a reason yet to convince yourself, I'm gonna skip Cartethyia to get Lupa. Wait for more info on Lupa and then decide is all I can say. Overall, a really tough decision. Like, it's such a weird decision because, you know, back to back, Chacona into Cartethyia, you want both of them. And then there's Lupa. Seems so fun to play, but then there's a lot more to think about first before going for it, right? Including, speaking of things to think about, including future batters. They have just dropped on Twitter a wall of the most immensely attractive characters ever. If you haven't seen yet, go on like the official website or their Twitter. You'll see they've posted a lot. These are only 3 of like out of 6, I think. Augusta, you know, I think that's how you call it. Qiu Yuan. Augusta? For I probably August. I'm calling her August. August. Hot as shit. Alright? Very mommy. You know. You just feel mythical when you look at her. Alright? A mythical waifu. Okay? Qiu Yuan. I don't care if you're a gooner. I don't care if you're just here for the waifu and such. Qiu Yuan is a badass. Okay? I said she. He looks pretty sick, okay? He looks like he would have, you know, with these games, it's hard to design male characters in a way where everyone likes it, but I feel like Qiu Yuan, it hits pretty well. It hits pretty well. It's not just like an NPC looking ass. He looks like he's got a story to tell, and I'm all for it. I think he's actually a really solidly designed character, along with Augustin, you know, but those two are a given. They're adorable. With that said, let me give you the final thing. I'm gonna straight up say it. You might want to just skip both of them because Phrolova, okay? Fall in love, Fleurdelys, more like, because I fall in love with this thing. So yeah, I don't know about you, but this character has been around for a while. We know she exists for a while now. And a lot of people from the first time they saw her, even back in like the first, you know, freaking Scar days, we saw Fhrolova the first time, we fell over for, I'm trying to make a pun with fall over Fhrolova. I can't get it, whatever. But yeah, this character, I think it has to be really strong, first of all, because, you know, it's a character that's hyped from like the get-go. I think she will not be shit at all. I think she'll be like hyper good, something like, you know, think about Camellia. I think she'll be Camilla level good, but then better because Camilla's already out. So who knows? Who knows? In the end, all really attractive characters. It's hard for me to tell you exactly what to go for. It's impossible with Fuwa. I'm gonna say it. Even with Starrail, you know, I'm gonna compare. Yeah, who cares? I'm just making like a friendly comparison. All right. With Starrail, there are some characters who are like, okay, my team's done. I don't gotta touch it anymore. I'm not gonna pull this character. These characters, bro, yo, it makes you think twice, man, because they look so good. All right. With that said, that's all for today's Should You Pull. Now, in the end, there's gonna be more information being released soon on Twitter as well. Do give it a read, but I'm pretty sure I've nailed it. Like, you know, it's the same as what they're explaining on the live stream, so it's fair to have all of these deduced. In the end though, let me know what you think, and I hope I helped you out. And that is all. Take care.